So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a ChatGPT AI assistant for any niche using GoHighLevel. So the last video that I posted got quite a bit of traction, and a lot of people were asking me how they could use ChatGPT for their business or for their niche, or basically how to get this system. And so one of the commitments that I had made early on to growing this YouTube channel was that I would actually show the real good stuff that people want to see. I think there's a lot of great YouTube channels out there, but a lot of the time, even when I look out into the YouTube space, I really can't find channels that actually show you the good stuff. So in this video, I'm going to hold nothing back, and I'm going to show you the most cutting edge way to use ChatGPT with GoHighLevel to follow up with your leads, to follow up with your clients' leads, basically how to interface ChatGPT as an intelligent AI assistant inside of your GoHighLevel. And I'm gonna hold nothing back. You can see here I've got a nice diagram, and I've got like a 15 or 20 page document that I'm gonna be going over in step-by-step detail. So this is going to be one of the longer trainings, but if you want to learn this for your agency or for your business, then here's the training on exactly how to do it, and I'm going to hold nothing back, and we are going to start from scratch, and I'm even going to give you the exact thought process behind every stage of the way. And just for a little bit of context, I spent the last 90 days building this for my own SaaS company. So we help real estate investors find off-market deals. And so I spent the last 90 days, actually since ChatGPT came out, I was working on integrating it with GoHighLevel. But within the last 90 days or so, things have changed quite a bit in the AI space. GPT-4 came out, and so there were a lot of crazy things that just happened that made this system way better. And so I was custom tailoring the prompts and doing all that stuff. And so, I say this because I'm not just, showing you some random thing and hopefully this works. Like, this is working as we speak with our clients. And I was able to enroll people to this specific service or system that I'm going to be showing you how to do. And how to create. So this is, trust me, most cutting edge way that you can use ChatGPT, GoHighLevel, and Zapier, nothing held back. So let's get into it. So before I actually kind of get into the breakdown of it, I have this simple explanation here, because if you're newer to HighLevel or ChatGPT, or just potentially not as advanced, I want to break this down super simply. So basically, what we're going to be doing in this video is creating an AI assistant using ChatGPT, okay? And so we need to know the three tools that kind of go into this process so that you understand what we're actually doing before we start to do it. So number one is GoHighLevel. So it's the tool for talking and listening, right? And this is the basis of communication between ChatGPT and your lead, customer, prospect, however you want to define who that person is. ChatGPT is the interpreter and the responder. So this is what's going to enable intelligent conversation between your customer, prospect, lead, whatever you want to call them, and your ChatGPT, which is going to act as your client or a representative of your business. And then Zapier, it's the connector. I still don't know how to say it to this day. Zapier, whatever. It's basically the connector. It's like a digital bridge between HighLevel and ChatGPT, and it's basically tying the communication and the response together. So what does this look like when you actually tie this together? Basically, your customer, let's say you work with real estate agents, your customer, real estate agent, can now have an automated appointment booking system for their business, and their leads are buyers and sellers, people that need to buy houses and people that need to sell houses, right? And so basically what the ChatGPT AI system will do is it will intelligently communicate with those buyer and seller leads, figure out if they're buying, figure out if they're selling, qualify them, and book an appointment with the end user, which is your client, right? And what I'm going to show you how to do gives you the ability to actually customize your own system for any niche and basically just change some things around, and you have a bot for literally any type of business: solar, real estate investing, landscaping, all the niches that are out there. You can basically use this training for that. So anyway, this is the more kind of in-depth view of how the system works, but I created a very simple way to kind of break it down before we get into doing it and, a little bit more of the, things that get advanced. So this is the simple way to explain it. So when a customer replies, right? So let's just stay on the example of a real estate agent. So real estate agents work with, let's just say, a buyer lead, right? So somebody that needs to buy a house. So when that buyer lead, right, messages your client, which is a real estate agent, through GoHighLevel, what our system is going to do by the end of this video is when that customer messages back the real estate agent, it's going to send a webhook. And don't worry if these things are complicated. I'm leaving literally nothing out when I show you this. So just don't worry about if you don't get it now. Just watch the whole training and you're going to see how to do this. I'm holding nothing back. So when the buyer lead, right, texts your real estate agent client, it's going to send a webhook, okay? And inside of Zapier, we're going to pull that, we're going to catch this hook, right? And inside of that hook has the message that was sent, has the customer's name, the customer's email, all the data that's in their high level. And then what we're able to do is through Zapier, we're able to pull that data and push it into ChatGPT and basically tell it, hey, this is what this customer replied. So the GPT system will read the reply. Then we have a prompt, which I'll be covering in this video, how to create a prompt so that it responds correctly, right? But the prompt is basically the engine or the brain of what makes this entire system I'm going to show you successful. And so we tell ChatGPT, hey, this is what you're doing. This is either a buyer lead, this is either a seller lead, this is a solar lead, this is a ABC. This is what's going on, right? Here's how I want you to respond. Here's how I want you to behave. Here's your objective, right? And here's the message that this customer sent, right? Based on your prompt, respond correctly, right? That's really the essence of this entire system. And so when you can automate this, what starts to happen is that you can have hundreds of conversations between customers and ChatGPT, and it will automatically respond and use its intelligence and the prompt that you've added into the system to respond intelligently, accurately, consistently, and reliably, right? And the time frame for this process to happen is usually under 3 minutes in most cases, okay? So your customer, right, your client, real estate agent's customer replies, right? That sends data via a webhook to Zapier. Zapier catches that hook, and then it sends it to ChatGPT. It reads the message that the customer sent. We program ChatGPT to behave a certain way. Once it runs, the reply through the way it's supposed to behave, it will produce an output, which is basically a response to the reply. And then that response will get added to a contact field in GoHighLevel. And then when that contact field gets updated, we can pull that data inside of GoHighLevel and basically send that response as a text. You could actually do it as an email, a Facebook message, and even an IG DM with just one click. You can change which channel it's for, or even duplicate it. But for this example, we're just going to stay on SMS because once we're in the actual building phase of this, you're going to see how easy it is to actually just change it to Facebook or IG or whatever, right? So that's basically what we're doing in the most simple way. Your customer replies, ChatGPT responds, and it sends to GoHighLevel. That's the simplest way to explain it. Customer sends a reply, ChatGPT knows the context, it responds accurately, it sends that response to GoHighLevel as a text, and then your customer gets a response on their end. Simple as that. So that's the basis of how this thing works, okay? Now let's get into a little bit of the overview of the technicality of how we're gonna actually do this, okay? So that's the simple kind of easy to understand way to do it, but if you're gonna actually build this, you do have to understand webhooks, you do have to understand fields and custom values and stuff like that, because that's a part of, building this, okay? So the first step, right, is we need some sort of like lead, right? So we need a contact's information inside of the GoHighLevel. So for example, this could be a Facebook lead, a PPC lead, a text blast lead, just any sort of, name and phone number. It really doesn't matter, okay? And so the way that you start this system is it's going to update a contact field. So when we build this system, we have a workflow that's going to update the contact field. And when that contact field gets updated, it's going to send the webhook. So ChatGPT knows the first message it sent, right? Because if there's no conversation history with that lead through the server, then it kind of doesn't know where it's starting the conversation at. So it can't read the old conversation, right, until it starts the conversation through ChatGPT. So that's going to send over a webhook. And then basically, if the lead responds, that's going to go, ChatGPT will receive this response, and then that will trigger the prompt, and then the GPT response will just, send out via a webhook again. And then we have some other workflows that basically, if they don't respond, it follows up with the lead as well. So what we need to do is we need to do what I have outlined here, okay? So this is our table of contents. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a blank snapshot, okay? So blank snapshot is basically a blank sub account, which I've already done here because I didn't want, you guys to watch me input all this random, information. But basically there's nothing in here. There's nothing in any of this snapshot, so it's brand new, okay? So there's no automations. You can see we're going to literally build all this from scratch, okay? So create a blank snapshot, all right? So that's step one. So if you're in your GoHighLevel, go to your sub accounts, create a sub account, and just, name this product ChatGPT, right? So that's how I've done it. So the second step is we're going to create some tags, some custom values. We're going to build the workflows, create the Zap structure, create a good prompt, and I have some templates and stuff like that, and test it, refresh the fields, and then go, okay? So that's 13 minutes of context. Let's see how fast we can actually do this, okay? So we already did the explanation, so let's get into the high level stuff first. So we're going to do the boring stuff first, but this is going to create the placeholders for the big stuff to actually run on, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is create the GoHighLevel custom fields. So we're going to go into our blank snapshot, go to our settings, and then go to our custom fields. And you can see these are all just the standard fields you get with a blank snapshot. So we're going to click on add field, and then I'm just going to copy and paste these values because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So this is going to be a single line text input, and like I said, if you don't fully understand this right now, but you want to do it, just follow along, and then as we go through it, everything's going to click into place. So don't worry about if you understand everything right now. So for the group, we're just going to leave this as additional info for now. That way you don't have to create all these other folders. So we're just going to say date since last message received, and then I think we can just save that, okay? So that is now saved, okay? Now we're going to do a GPT Response custom field. So we're going to go to add field, single line, and then we're going to go to next. And actually I'm going to do multi-line just because we want to make sure that if the response from ChatGPT is a little bit longer, we don't want it to get cut off by the single line. So multi-line, just make sure we have, a longer response available. So we're going to put GPT Response, group will be additional info as well, and just click on save. Okay? So these two things are done. And none of this early stuff is that exciting, but it's going to start to build up. So now we need to create custom tags. So we're going to create 2 tags. So the first tag is stop bot. So we're going to go here to tags, and we are going to do add new tag, and we're going to do stop bot. And these should lowercase either way, so it doesn't matter how you type these in. So they should just default to lowercase. So stop bot, and then we have autopilot. So autopilot basically just means the bot is engaged for that particular lead. So autopilot, and that's going to lowercase as well. So we're going to have stop bot, and then we're going to have autopilot. Okay, so those are the 2 custom tags we need, and those are done. So now we're going to create custom values. Okay, so if you're not familiar with what custom values are, basically the simplest way I could describe them is that they are codes that GoHighLevel can generate, or excuse me, keys that GoHighLevel can generate. And when you paste those keys into the GoHighLevel system, they'll basically update everywhere that the key is placed. So when we create this name of assistant custom value, if we place the key that GoHighLevel generates for this particular value, it's going to update that value throughout the system. So in emails or text, wherever. So basically we're building kind of the back-end placeholder stuff. And these are just kind of the things you're going to want to have so that your bot can be customized, or your user can customize the bot. So we are going to go to custom values, and we are going to go one by one. So we're going to do name of the AI assistant, and then basically for the value, okay, you can just type in the name of the AI assistant. You can always change this later, but you need some sort of value here. So we're just going to put Jackie for now, and that's going to get created. Okay. Now the second thing is the company name. So we are going to go to custom values and do company name, and we will just call this new breed investor. We're going to click create. And like I said, all these can be changed with just the pencil and change it. We just want to, while we're here, might as well put in these values, okay? So for the custom value, for this one, we're going to do qualifying question 1. And for this one, we can just paste it because we're going to do this with the prompt section. But the easy stuff like names and company stuff, you can do that now. So we're going to do this for the other 2 qualifying questions. So we're going to just do that. And then we're going to do qualifying question 3. And once you learn how to build this, you can pretty much tailor this to, like I said, any industry, any type of qualifying questions. It's all the base that you have to figure out, which I'm just giving away. So here's the webhook URL. So this will just be a placeholder as well. So we are just going to put this for now. And then the other thing is going to be this GPT message. And that will be it for the custom values. Okay, so GPT message. All right, so this section is complete. Okay, so this is kind of the boring stuff, but now we've got the foundation set for the workflows. Okay, So now what we're going to do is we're going to build 5 simple workflows all in one organized folder. So here's what they do. So basically, we're going to build a start bot workflow. We're going to build a stop bot, or we're going to build a start bot workflow, which just starts the bot. We're going to build a stop bot workflow, which stops the bot. We're going to build a hard reset automation, which basically will disengage the bot for everyone, and it'll reset the webhook to a null item. So there's no possible way that the bot could work. So this is just for your customer, for you, if you're ever, it's the easiest way to basically disengage the automation from everyone without having to find the contacts or anything like that. So this is kind of a essential one. So we're going to build that, and then we're going to build the brain of the system, which is the GPT Master, and then we're going to build the data fields. This is just for some storage within our prompt for stuff that GoHighLevel doesn't natively track. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to build a folder. So we're going to go to automation, and we're going to go to create folder, and I just call this ChatGPT. And then what we're going to do, and I recommend doing this if you're doing this as an agency, is you can manage your permissions and make sure that this is just for agency admins. That way your users don't, mess with the bot or anything like that, because they're able to turn it on and off without needing to, go inside the folder. So that's just the easiest way to do it without creating something where they're inside of the bot and potentially just getting confused. Okay, so I would lock that. That's my personal preference, but you don't have to. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to name this first workflow start bot. So we're just going to start from scratch, and we are going to just paste that in and save that. Okay, so that's that. And then for our settings, we're just going to make sure that we turn on the allow multiple, and you could potentially restrict the time, to these workflows. Obviously, that's up to you, but for these examples, I'm just going to do any time, and then allow multiple. So allow multiple basically makes sure that if you have a contact, there's odds are that a contact will potentially need to go through the bot a few times, right? So maybe you start it with them, the lead responds, and then you disengage the bot, and then basically that lead stops responding, and then maybe 5 days later you reactivate this bot, right? So you want to make sure that this is on, because if not, then you can only have a contact go through this workflow once. So we're going to save that, and then now we can get into the actual building of this. So let me refresh here, make sure that saves. Okay, so here we go. So let me make sure. Okay, so it just didn't save, so save that. I always like to save after every action that I do on here, because worst thing is, you lose that workflow. So, okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we're going to add the, there's not going to be any sort of trigger, because the trigger is, the user, right, just assigning the actual lead or set of leads to this workflow. Because if you add a trigger, it's only going to run on certain triggers, right, versus just adding it to the lead. And obviously I'm showing you how to build it, so you can do it however you want, but this is what I've done. So we're going to remove the lead from all the workflows, and then we're going to turn off include current workflow, because the rest of the workflow would obviously not run. So this is just to clear, right, any other workflows that this lead may be in, especially with a bot, right? Because if the lead's getting appointment reminders or some other, advanced kind of workflow or something, it's going to jam, right? Because they're getting a message from something else, and then you're starting a bot. So you always want to just clear stuff that's how I like to build stuff, is just clear it, remove it, get it to 0, and then, then assign the new kind of thing. So that's what I recommend. So now we're going to do a remove tag of stop bot. So we're just going to do tag, and we are going to select stop bot. So save that. And then we are going to add a tag, which is the autopilot. So we're going to do add tag, and then we're going to do autopilot. And that is set in stone. And now we're going to do update contact field, which is going to be GPT Responds. So we're going to go to update contact field, and then we are going to go to GPT Response, and then this is actually going to be the custom field. So it's going to be GPT Response. Okay, so what this is basically when we start this bot, in order to like start the bot and then have the conversation, the original message gets sent to ChatGPT so that it knows what it sent and then what the lead is responding to. We need to basically send the message by updating a contact field, okay? And you'll see how this works when we test it, but just for now, follow along. Excuse me. So, hold on. Okay. They don't want me to make this video, trying to choke me out. Okay. So, update the contact field. So, like I said, just follow along with this. It'll make sense as we go. We're going to publish that. So, that's workflow number 1. Now we're going to build workflow number 2. So, stopping the bot. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start from scratch, configure the title. Always want to make sure you have order in how you do things because it calms you down, makes your mind clear, and you don't have to worry about all this other stuff, okay, when you're organized. So anytime again, allow multiple, save. Go back to actions, and we are going to do remove from this workflow, and this workflow will be the GPT Master. So for now, we have to just save it as the just remove from workflow, and we're just going to do another workflow. And for now, we'll just leave it as the stop bot because we have to build the other workflow that it's going to be removed from, which is actually the GPT Master. Okay, because if the bot or if the lead is in the GPT Master and we need to stop it, we need to remove it, right? So we'll change this later once we build it, but basically we're going to remove that. We're going to remove the tag autopilot, and then we're going to add the tag stop bot. So we're going to remove the tag autopilot, and then we're going to add the tag stop bot. Boom. Save. And we're just going to publish that, and then that one's good other than obviously this, okay? So I will highlight this because we need to make sure we get that done. Okay, so everything's good except this. So now we're going to do the hard reset. So we're going to go here, and we are going to go to create workflow, continue, and then we are going to call this hard reset. We're going to save this, and we are going to do allow multiple as well because you may need to do this process multiple times. Hopefully you don't have to, but if you do need to reset it, you definitely don't want to jam, a reset and not be able to reset the whole thing, okay, with one click. So that is like the factory reset. It's basically like just unplugging it from the wall. Okay, so now we're going to build the main kind of base of this system, and it's actually more simple than you may think. So, or excuse me, I skipped here. Okay, so update the custom value. So what we're going to do is we are going to update this custom value of Webhook. So basically, when you have this system set up successfully, there's going to be a webhook URL that you put into the custom value, which is connected to your Zap. And so if that's not a valid webhook, right, then the whole thing breaks. Not breaks, but it's not going to receive any data. It's not going to send a response. So basically, we're just going to do for the new value. Let's see if I have it here. Yeah, so we're just going to put insert webhook here, and this won't like ruin anything. This won't like break the system or anything. It's just if you have a lead, right, that's somewhere in the bot and you don't even know. Like I said, these are just the things you have to build when you're creating this type of stuff, because you just, you can't expect everyone to have the same understanding of GoHighLevel and automation as you. So people just need a quick button where they just, update the custom value. And the cool thing about this is system wide. So you could just select one contact and basically just, it'll update the custom value because it's the whole system. A custom value isn't linked to an actual user or contact. So once you clear this is no longer a valid webhook, and because it's no longer a valid webhook, then your Zap, which we'll be creating, just cannot run. It won't pull data, so everything would just be as if you didn't have this installed. So that's complete. So now we're going to go to our GPT-4. Or yeah, it is GPT-4, but number 4, and then GPT Master. So this is the most complicated workflow you will be building on this training, and it's basically not that hard. At least it hasn't been that difficult for me to figure this out. So we're going to just do settings, make sure to turn this on, allow multiple, and just click save. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to build a few layers here. Okay, so these are basically going to be the triggers. So let me just insert a line here, and then this is going to be, so that's fine. So these are the triggers. So what we're going to do is we're going to create 2 triggers. So the first one is going to be called contact changed. And then this is going to be the GPT response, and then we're just going to do has changed, right? So if you're kind of starting to see how this thing connects, when we start the bot, when you change the custom value at the very beginning and you type your first message, right, now that's in a custom value. And so what happens is when you start the bot, it basically will send that custom value to this field. And so when it sends this custom value to this field, it's, this field changes. And so this is what we're telling GoHighLevel to pick up. Hey, when this thing changes, and then we're going to build the rest of it. So that's how these 2 things are connected. Is if we go to step 1, when we start it, we update that contact field, oops, it's not letting me click, with this, this will be the custom value of GPT message. So when this contact field gets updated, then in here, now we've got a trigger or a starting point, right? So the contact gets changes, and it's this particular field, and then if it just changes at all. So that's the first step here. So the second step is the customer replied, okay? So this is just where you got to follow the process, and you'll see how this whole thing works, okay? So we're going to do customer replied, and then we're going to do reply channel is SMS. And like I said, this is how easy you could change this entire system with a few clicks to work on another platform. But I'll show that maybe another video if you guys want. But customer reply channel SMS, and then we're going to add the hashtag autopilot. That way we're making sure that the only people getting or are in this workflow are people that are in the bot. So we're going to do hashtag autopilot, and then we're going to do doesn't have tag stop bot. So that just creates a hard-coded rule where when the contact changes, cool, that's correct, because the only way this field gets updated is if you run that workflow, so therefore they're in the bot. And then the only way this one runs is if they reply to the SMS and they have these tags. Because if you delete these tags and you just leave it for SMS, then your bot will run for all of your leads, right? And you may not want that. So you want to consciously put the people you want to put in into the bot. So that's how this works. So you save that, and now we're going to build a condition. Okay, so this is going to be a condition here, or it's if else. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to call this contact changed, or excuse me, I like to do I think replied first. So contact replied. So then what we're going to do is we are going to do customer replied. So let me name this customer replied, and then we are going to do a webhook. Okay, so we're just going to do workflow trigger is customer replied. And so what this is going to do is just create a branch. So if somebody replies, they go through here. Okay, so we already have the hard coded rule that they'd reply via text, they have this tag, they don't have this tag, and then we have a condition here where if they replied, they're going to go over here and we're going to create this webhook. So we're going to do webhook, and then for the URL, we are going to go to custom values and we're going to do webhook URL. So that way you don't have to update the webhook inside of this automation. You just do it on the back end, and it's way easier. That alone is worth this this training right here. So that's the webhook. And then this I can show you what this is, and then this will make more sense later. But basically, if you want to customize your bot, right, without having to go into the automation or something like that, what you're going to do is you're going to add keys here and connect them to the custom values. So I'll show you what that looks like. So the first one is we'll just do name of the AI assistant. So these can't have spaces from my understanding, so we can just do name. We can just do AI assistant name. And then what's going to happen here is when you go to your custom values, we're going to do name of AI assistant. So what's happening, or what I'm doing, is that when someone signs up for your, this system with you, then all you have to do, or your customer has to do, is update those custom values and then run a test, and then all those values will get pushed into the Zap as a part of the prompt. So instead of your customer saying, hey, I want to change this assistant's name or something like that, and then you go into the Zap and you're like literally typing that thing out, all they have to do is update the custom value, push through a new test, and then you'll see within the Zap how we can just pull that data, and you could technically just create a base prompt for any niche and then just have these other custom fields that your client puts in, which is what I'm showing you how to do. So if this is kind of going over your head, just stick with me here. Remember, this is all we're doing, okay? So when the customer replies, we're sending a webhook, okay, which is this. So when the customer replies, we're sending a webhook. And what that webhook is doing is it's telling ChatGPT the data from GoHighLevel. And so when we pre-program these set of custom data, along with the custom value, when the custom value gets updated, we're now sending value, or we're now sending data unique to that sub account to the Zap that goes into the prompt. So for example, if on the back end of this snapshot we say the assistant's name is Jackie, which we did, then that data will get passed through here and pass into ChatGPT, and it says, hey, you are Jackie. If we go back into the custom value like we did when we were setting it up, and we change this to Joshua or something like that, then because this is pulling a custom value, then it's going to automatically update in the Zap. And so within just a few back-end edits, you can change the whole system without having to like go in here and do this. You only do it once, and then you're good, right? So that's the webhook, and we're going to do the company name now. So same thing. These were all custom values that we did right here, and we're just pre-programming them because GoHighLevel will not pull those custom values because custom values aren't linked to contacts. They're just system-wide. So we need to actually tell HighLevel, hey, you have this data of company name that we input, but we need to basically, send this over to ChatGPT. So we have to actually tell GoHighLevel, we need you to send this data over here so we can use it in our prompt. So boom, there's that. And like I said, if you want to learn how to do this, just keep following along. If you follow this to the T, everything's going to be set up properly, and it'll make sense. So there's company name, and then we just have the qualifying questions. Okay. So we're going to go to qualifying questions, and these can't have spaces, okay, from my understanding. So, if you're typing these in with spaces and it's not working, that's why. So I would just follow this exactly. So the first thing we're going to do is qualifying question 1. So this should be 1, and then 2 and 3, just so everyone who gets this written thing has it on point. So here we go. So boom, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So what we're doing here is we are going to now put in this custom qualifying question. Boom. So now your client can say, I don't like that question, or it's not, whatever, right? All they have to do is on the back end, which I'll run through this at the end, change it to whatever that question is they want to ask, and then boom, it'll just update the whole system. So I'm giving you guys, or the way I'm showing you how to do this is to have 3. You could technically create as many as you want. You just add more custom values, and then just add them right here. So there's 3, and then there you go. So let's just save this before we add too many things. And then objective of the bot. So this one, let me see if I added it here. Okay, so this one we don't need to add because I was going to show how to do it a different way, but this way is more simple. So that's all we need to do right here, okay? So we're going to save this as that, okay? So that's that. So when a customer replies, we're going to send this webhook to Zapier. Zapier will catch that hook. It's going to catch the reply from the lead, the name, the phone number, all the data that HighLevel has. And then we're just telling HighLevel, hey, there's some other data we want, and we need to tell you how we need to tell you what that is so that it goes into our prompt. Boom. That's all this is. So we're going to click save, and then boom. Okay, now we need to add another condition, which is the contact changed workflow trigger. So we are going to add a branch, and then we're going to call this contact changed, and then we are going to do workflow trigger is, and then contact change. So we're going to click save, and let's see, I'm going to move this. Oops. Can I not move this branch? Oh, that's fine. That's actually how I wanted it. Okay, so contact change. So if the customer replies, it goes over here, sends the webhook. Okay, and we haven't set all that up yet. So if you're like, what's going on? It's going to get set up later. So customer replies, sends the webhook. If the contact gets changed, which will happen either when the bot is triggered or when the Zap runs, then we need these other actions. And this one is going to be to send the SMS. And then all we do is we pull the custom value of the contact or custom field GPT response, and then boom. Okay, so when that when the contact changes, right, which it will only do when the Zap is triggered or you start the bot, then basically the contact, it's going to send a text, and the data it's going to pull is from that actual field. Okay, so this is how this thing starts. So if you go here, you can see we update this contact field. So this is the field that we're updating. And then we're pulling this first message from the custom value just so we could start the bot. But every time after that, GPT will just update this field. And when that field gets updated, it's going to go into this contact change, and then it's just going to send the, what that updated response is. Boom. So that's how this works. Now, the other thing that I have done, and this is a huge part of the system, is I show you how to actually create this into a proactive follow-up system. So the way that I've done that is when that text gets sent, I've added a wait feature, which is going to wait for a reply, okay, to that text that we just sent. And then what I've done is I've created a timeout feature of, let's just do 1 day for this example. And so what this is going to do is when this message gets sent, right? So just follow the mouse. When the message gets sent to the lead, right? Or excuse me, from here. When the message gets sent to the lead, right, there's going to be a text that goes out, and then we're waiting for a response on this actual text. And if there's not a response, then we're going to wait, right, to see for 1 day if they do respond. If they don't, then we're going to do go to, and we're going to just actually link the webhook again. So it's an infinite loop of basically ChatGPT engaging the lead and following up with the lead, because in the prompt, you will see how we design the prompt so that if the message is blank from the lead, that it will basically re-engage the lead. So this is the mechanical, technical part we're doing, and then when you add the prompt, that's what makes this thing work. So if we send a message to a lead, we wait a day, they don't respond, boom, that reignites the webhook, and basically sends a message to the GPT. It tries to re-engage them, and then from there, if as soon as this webhook happens and the customer or the contact changes because the webhook gets triggered, then it puts them in this queue again. Okay, so I'm used to actually having this on the other side, but I can't actually move it. So that's how this thing will work. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to build the last part of this, kind of the automation thing, which is the 5th folder. So we are going to go to create workflow, and then we're going to start from scratch. And then this one is going to be called data fields. So what this one is going to do, or the purpose it will serve, is basically it's going to format data that we wouldn't get out of a webhook. So we're going to just turn on allow multiple, and this one's super simple. So when a customer replies, and this can be for any customer because this workflow alone isn't going to do anything other than save the date, or excuse me, save the save the, let's see, watch, I'll show you this. So, oh, it's adding that, that's why. So when a customer replies, right, via text, and you could actually remove even the channel technically, just because we're just basically creating a field to track when a customer responds. And that way ChatGPT knows, hey, you know, today is January 1st, right? And the last response I got from, you know, Jane Smith lead, right, was December 25th. That was, you know, 6 days ago. So now it has a little bit more context of like, I've sent 5 messages to this person because I can see all my responses because my field is updated. And the last time I heard back from this person via text was, you know, 6 days ago. And then it knows how to basically approach that lead because it has context for the date of when it last heard back. And if it did, if that lead did respond, then basically it knows, you know, when that last response was and what that lead said. And if it's blank, then it knows that, you know, this field is blank. It's never talked to the lead, right? So this is just, you have to have this. So you're going to click on customer replied, and then we're going to do date formatter. So we're just going to do date formatter. And this is only with the 497 SAS, I believe. It looked like it was. So we're going to do current date and time. And then we are going to basically just convert it to, let's see, how do I have it configured? I think I have it, let's see, like this is how I think. So yeah, that's going to format the date. So basically, you know, it's going to show the system, hey, you know, the last time it got a response was Saturday, December 21st, 2023 at 1:30 p.m. So the customer replies, and then basically it's just going to format, right, the moment that happens into this format. So it's just going to capture when that customer replied and then reformat it. And then we're going to clear this field, which is the field we created at the beginning. And we're going to clear this date since last message received, because, you know, if there was a previous response and, you know, we don't technically have to clear it, but we have to update it. So I just like to clear it. That way it just follows like a process of clearing and then updating. But technically you just don't want that field to stay fixed, because if that field is fixed, then ChatGPT is going to think the message was from the first time the message came through versus the most recent. So we're going to clear it, and then we're just going to update it based on this. So update contact field, and then we are going to do date since last message received, and then we're going to click on this tag and go to date time formatter, and then that's going to pull data from here. So boom. Save. And then we had all this multiple on. Cool. So that's the base of this entire system. So if you've got that set up, pretty much almost there. So that is that. Okay. So now we got to do our actual Zap. Okay. So let's do an overview of the Zap. So it's going to be super simple. We're going to catch a hook, and then we're going to start the conversation in ChatGPT, and then we're going to update the contact field in lead connector, which is high level. And then basically that's going to start this master, okay? Because when that contact field gets updated, it's going to basically send the text, and then it's just going to basically go through a whole like infinite cycle here. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to type webhooks, and we are going to do catch hook and click continue, and then you're going to leave this blank, and then basically you're going to have your webhook URL. So we can test this trigger. There's not going to be anything that goes because it, we haven't triggered this yet. So we can keep moving for now. And we can now go to GPT. And when I started this in like December, I think, or November, this was the only app that was available. And I think this is what a lot of people are doing to build this. But at one point I had like 5 different zaps. It was just a whole thing. Like, I'm showing you the straight line how to do this, because with this thing, it just sends like a prompt. So it's almost like the lead is just interacting with ChatGPT via text. It's not like it's having a conversation. So this is what you need, this ChatGPT app, and that's it. And so what you're going to do is, there's only one event, so you're going to do conversation. So this is what's going to make the difference with your system, because now your system is actually having a conversation. Okay, and so now we need to actually fill this out. Okay, so what we're going to do here is basically this user message will come from the webhook. So we'll test this in a second, and then basically we'll configure all these other settings, and I'll show you how we do this. But for now, I'm just going to add this last step here, which is going to be the lead connector. And then we're going to just do add update contact. And then for now, we have to actually link the lead connector and all that. But this is the base of what we need to build. So it's just webhook, ChatGPT, and then this lead connector. So the first step to doing this is we will actually run a test lead through this actual webhook to make sure that it pulls data, from this actual, from this specific webhook, so we can start filling it into this system. So we're going to go back to our high level, and we are going to go to settings, and then we're going to go to phone number. And we're going to add in, let's just do 949 as an area code, and then we are going to buy this phone number here. Okay, and so what this is going to do is just basically allow us to text this lead. So I'm going to come here to my outbound bot, and give me a second. Okay, so I just grabbed a test phone number, and what we're going to do is, we are here still in this, the product, the ChatGPT system, and I'm going to add this contact, and I can just do testing GPT AI. And I'm going to add in this test phone number and click save. And then what we're going to do is, we are just going to go to campaign workflows, and then just click on start bot. And what's going to happen is, it should let me send the message here because it's a new account. Let's see. Cool. So basically, this message was sent, right, to this testing bot or testing lead. So if I go over here, this is like the actual message from the AI. So now that we have that, we're going to test this trigger, and there should be a record here. So if we go to, I haven't pasted this code back here, webhook. So we're just going to go to the values, and we can leave these things the way they are right now. And we'll run through a full test later, but we just need to clear out this data so we can actually, finish configuring the Zap, and we'll be good to go. So I'm going to paste this URL. So like I said, you see how if that URL, that webhook URL is not updated, the system won't work. So with that hard reset, it'll just clear it, and there's no way it can work. So let's try this again. So we're just going to go in here, and then we're going to go to start bot, and it will send another message, or I may have to clear, let me clear this contact because it's already in the, you can see it, actually it's in here. So just so you guys have this understanding. So I think it's in here, or maybe, let's see. Yeah, let me delete this. Sometimes it gets, or let me see, did that go through? Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to delete this. Sometimes when you're testing, before you have the Zap fully set up, you just need to delete it. So, testing. All right. And then we can just put this here. All right, and so now what I'm going to do is, just for making sure fully, I'm just going to reset this. So we're going to click on this, and we are going to click on Start Bot. And so what that's going to do is it's going to send the same message again, but it's just a clear contact record, and the webhook should have fired. So, oh yeah, that's why that contact wasn't in the automation, because the webhook didn't fire, so it just went out of the system. So now this will work. So we're going to test this trigger, and there will be a record here. So once we respond, this will trigger, make sure that's sent. And there we go. So, okay, so there's the data, okay? So we'll start to fill this in and make sure everything's there. If it's not, I'll show you how to like correct it. But for now, let's get moving. So basically we've you know, the way to trigger this, right, is to send the initial message to the lead, and then you have to respond as the lead, because that's going to trigger this webhook so you can see the data. Okay, so now what we're looking for is the user message. So this is what the ChatGPT is going to respond to. So we're looking for hello, right? So that's how we're going to know it's accurate, is we can type message, and boom, there it is, message body, hello. And then username. So what's basically the bot's name, right? Because the name of the user sending a message, or excuse me, this is basically the lead's name, the name of the user sending a message to the assistant. So this is going to be first name, right? Because this is what we saved this lead as, testing GPT AI. And then the assistant name, so this is the name of the AI, and this is where that custom value comes in. This is that data that we put into this right here. So when we do, this is what got passed through here, right? All this data over here. And so when we change it on the back, right here, if I change this to, you know, Quinn, then when I respawn as the lead, it'll refresh that webhook, and then that's how you update all this data without, you know, having to go in and do this. So this is the assistant name, Jackie, and then here is basically your prompt, which I'll cover in a bit. For now, we're just going to hook up all the technical stuff and then just plug this in after. So I like to use GPT-4. It's the best model, and that's just what I use. It's far better than GPT 3.5. You know, if you charge what it's worth, in terms of, you know, you offering this, then, you know, you'll be more than profitable, and it's literally way better. So it's not loading right now, but basically, let's see if I refresh this, if I'm gonna have to re-put this field in. Okay, so we're just gonna go here. So okay, there you go. You need this one, GPT-4, not this March 14th one. That's like going to be discontinued. So GPT-4, we'll cover the prompt later, right? Now I just want to show you the function of it, and then we'll correct it and we'll be done. So temperature, basically the higher the temperature, the more, I would say, risky the model is. So I would tune this thing down you can just start it at point 1. And that's going to make sure you're getting a really, really consistent response, to your lead without like worrying about it sending some crazy random thing. You don't need to mess with the nucleus sampling, and then the memory key is basically, I like to link it to the contact ID, which is in GoHighLevel. Because if you link, this is basically how the system will remember the conversation. So if you did it to like the full name or the phone number or something, sometimes that'll change. So if you just link it to the actual contact ID, then if the contact information changes, it's still going to know who it is. So that's how I do it. But the way to think about it, so you can decide, is to link it to something that is objective, like a number that ideally won't change. So that's what I do. Memory key. Okay, so basically you are a helpful assistant. Okay, so, and basically this is all ready to go. Obviously this prompt isn't like dialed in, but we're just going to test this action to complete the zap, and then I have a whole set of instructions on the prompt. So trust me, you'll be left with a ton of value. So, hello, how can I help you today? If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to ask. So boom, continue. So that's what so ChatGPT got that response, which was right here, which was hello, and then this was its output. So hello, how can I help you today? If you have any questions, feel free to ask. So it was basically, that's how this worked. Now, or that's the response it generated, and now all we got to do is pull that data from GPT and update that contact field in lead connector, which is high level, and then that'll get this thing moving. So the way you do this is you choose your high level account, and you just go to connect a new account, and then you get your API key from the back over here under business profile, and it's right here. So I'm going to paste that in, and then we'll be back. Okay, so when you paste the API key, it's going to probably just say lead connector and number 1 or whatever. I always recommend renaming the account immediately, because later you'll forget, and it's just good practice to have things organized. So if you go here to edit connection name, I would call this the exact name of this particular product or account, because if you start getting clients and stuff and you don't know whose lead connector is whose and stuff gets, tangled up, it's going to be super confusing to troubleshoot. So boom, there's that rename, and there's that. So now I'm catching a webhook in Zapier. The conversation prompt is ready. And then basically now we're going to go through the process of how do we get this over to high level. So all we need to do is just link the first name, and then the phone number is good enough, because really all you're doing is updating the response, right, of the what ChatGPT said. So you don't need to like map every single field. You just need to make sure it's updating the right contact, which technically you could probably just do with a phone number, but first name and phone number is good for this. You can leave this as a lead. That's the only required field. And then now this doesn't need to get updated either, because this gets updated when the lead responds in high level. And now we need to paste this GPT response. So we're going to go to history content, and that's going to basically update this field. And so now if we test this action, this should send a response over here to, this is basically the, boom, there it is. So it says hello, hello, because that's the like first name of the actual, I think it is, right? Or no, it's not. Testing GPT. Let me make sure those fields are good. Hold up. So, history content. I think I put the wrong one here. There we go. So it's assistant response message. So I put the history content, which is basically the whole conversation. So it merged what I said with what it said. Okay, so now let's run through this again and make sure it comes through, and then this is basically should come up over here, and this will be sent to the actual lead. So let's see, it may take a second, or let me make sure it went through. Okay, cool. It just went through. It may take a second, but it's gonna work. So while that loads, or that contact may be, yeah, I'm just gonna publish it because everything's good, and then we'll run through it. So, okay, so this is all hooked up. Okay, so now let me review here where we're at. Okay, yeah, so this is the prompt, and this is what we need to dial in. Okay, so that's the base of it though, because if I basically watch, let me make sure this lead is not in, let's see, are they in any, okay, so this is that queue that the lead is in. So this is where, like I said, it's cool if the reason that zap wouldn't work is because this lead is in this queue because they haven't responded, right? So if they respond, they'll get moved out of the queue. But for now, I'm just gonna basically remove this guy from here, and then make sure that this person is not in any of this anymore, and then we're just gonna restart it. So I'm gonna just kind of show you, just so you can see before we get into the prompt, which is the last part, how this thing works. So if we go to custom values, and we're gonna change this first message, we're just gonna say, hi, are you still interested in a free coupon? Sometimes you have to be careful with these words because high level may flag them, or technically it's Twilio. So I'm just writing in like a message so you can see how the GPT responds without any programming. So we're gonna do active, and then we're just gonna start this bot. And you can basically ignore this. It's gonna send that message. Are you ready? Are you interested in a coupon? And then I'm gonna say yes. And then without any response here, or me doing anything, this thing should fire. Hopefully it does it instantly, because sometimes it takes a few minutes or so, but hopefully you guys get to see. I trust that the intention, there it is, boom. Great, please let me know what you need help with or have any questions you have, and I'll do my best to assist you, right? So this thing basically hasn't been programmed, but the function is there, right? Yes, I want a coupon for free sushi. I'm just hypothetically. So that's no programming. I'm just showing you now the functions there, right? The functions there between the bot, the high level, all that good stuff. And now basically what's going to happen is GPT will respond again, and it'll respond until that bot gets stopped, right? And like I said, sometimes it takes a few minutes to respond, but this thing is turned on. So it's just going to keep going. I'll wait until it responds, just so you can see this next response. And then from there, we'll basically go, there it is, boom. I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, see, so this is where, when I first started, it was just basically like, you're just talking to ChatGPT, so this can't actually facilitate a good conversation between a lead, right? So this next section that I'm going to show you is, I'm just kind of giving away the whole farm, but I trust it'll find all of you well. So the function is there, right? So for now, we don't need to go in here and mess with anything. We just need to I need to explain the prompt, and then we're going to paste that prompt into the actual GPT, update those fields to make sure it's like specific to your niche or whatever you're trying to do, and then it'll be live. So basically, we have the assistant instructions template. Okay, so I'm just giving you this entire template, and if you're wondering, why am I giving this away? Like, why wouldn't I just do this? Well, because I built this frame of a template that works for any type of niche. So, this isn't like the specific one that I'm using for my customers. Most of the elements are the same, but there's specific things in there that I've curated. But this is the 99% of what you need. And so, this is why I'm showing you guys this thing, is because, you can use this however you want. So this is the template, okay? So this is like basically, these are the fields that you'll update with either the Zap, right? Or I'll show you with the custom values, okay? But this is like the frame of it that would work for any niche. And then basically these are the custom fields you're gonna need to update to like make it your own. And so I've already gone ahead and created like a few templates, so we could just paste it and show you how it works there. And then obviously you can just adjust these to be however you'd want. So, okay, so these are just some side notes. So if you want your user to be able to customize their bot, right, without your involvement, consider the following. So create a base prompt, which is pretty much what I've done there. And then create custom values in the snapshot in GoHighLevel for unique values that you want your user to set without interfering with the base prompt. So here's a perfect example. So inside of the snapshot, right, if we go to these custom values, you're going to see here that we have these qualifying questions. So for example, I'm going to just put this as, watch, let me refresh this. You'll see how this kind of adds up when we do this. So I'm going to just say, are you renting a home, or are you a renter or a homeowner? Are you currently renting? Sorry, I'm like, that didn't sound that good. Are you currently renting, or are you a homeowner? So when I do this, right, when you set it up properly, how I'm going to show you, that just updated the bot when it's set up the way that we want. So all I have to do to trigger that is send a response as the testing lead, because that's going to now pull the new custom value. So if we go here to ChatGPT and we go to the action, if we go to the assistant instructions, if we type in qualifying question, see how it says qualifying question 1, it hasn't been updated. So basically, when we refresh this by doing this new test, which is going to trigger from that new response, boom, there's this new one, the most recent one. Now, when we go to the action and we go to this thing, we can do qualifying question 1, or let me make sure, hold on. I need to find the one that says, let's see, what was the response I said? Okay. So we need to find this custom value was renting. So we're just going to refresh these fields. Boom. Okay. And then let's see if it's here now. So we're going to go to refresh or qualifying. So right now it's pulling kind of the old data. You may need to push it through again. Okay. And then basically we may need to just re-pull another test. And then what we should see in that value is the are you a renter or a homeowner. So I think that'll do it. So you just have to kind of clean it up. So qualifying. Hold on, let me make sure I did this properly. So are you currently renting or are you a homeowner? So let's just make sure this is hooked up. So, oh, there it is. This is the most recent one. So I pulled it. Boom. And then qualifying. There you go. Boom. So you just sometimes have to refresh it, but basically what I'm saying is that your customer can come in here, and if you code the prompt properly or engineer the prompt properly, they can update these fields, and then they'll just update in the prompt. So I can just use this example prompt here, and I'm just going to basically copy this, and I'll show you how to finalize this setup. So we're going to go to paste right here, and then don't worry about these things, that we'll fix them. So, okay, mandatory. Okay, so this stuff is fine. So the last message arrived at, and then now we're going to do is we are going to come here to date since last message received. Boom. So now we're telling the system, hey, keep all messages under 160 characters. The last message arrived at, boom, and now that's the date and time from this actual lead. Empty body message means no reply yet. The body message is already there. So all this stuff is good. Okay, so you are Emma. So now we come here to bot name or AI assistant name. Boom, you are Jackie, right? So that just updated the bot. And then an assistant for, and then we're just going to come here, and then we're going to say company name. Boom, New Breed Investor. And then your role is to, and then this is where, you can decide, right? Because if you do a custom value, right, and you could say AI assistant objective, I can say qualify buyer and sellers, qualify real estate buyer and seller leads. I could just say that. Qualify real estate buyer and seller leads. And so if you hard code the value, you can just type it in, right? It's going to depend on your niche. So if you're doing one niche, I would just hard code the main objective of the bot and not change it, and then just change the things like the company name and the company assistant name, and that's it, right? But if you want to, adjust this, right, so that your customer can kind of change it how they want to change it without messing up the bot, is you can delete this, right? So I can delete this role right there, and then now when I say, one more moment, when I resend that data through, I can pull, a new webhook here. It's going to pull right there, boom, and then that'll have the updated custom value that I can pull from. And so now the custom value updates in the prompt. So I can say your role is, and then instead of typing something out, you can let your customer type it out as long as they type it in correctly. So I can say, what did I type? What was that field I added? Oh, AI assistant objective. So AI assistant. Okay, so this is where now we just gotta push this right here and go to automation. And then we're just gonna go to the master, and then we're just gonna push this data here. So we have to tell it, this is how this thing works. AI assistant objective. And now I just paste that value here. Okay. And then I probably got a response. One more minute. So make sure that this thing is turned on, which it is. Boom. One more minute. Okay. And then now when we refresh this webhook, it's going to basically have that new data. So that's all it is. When you're setting up an account, you just, once you decide, I'm kind of showing you how you can decide and figure out what you need to do. You won't be doing this the way that I'm showing you. This is just a one-time setup. You figure out what customizations you want or don't want. And if you just want it hard-coded, the same name and same company name, whatever you want to do, then you don't need these custom values or anything, right? But if you want to let your customer kind of do their thing, all they have to do is update those values. You push the new thing through, and that's it. So if I go to the objective, now it's telling it, I just changed the objective of the bot, right, without having to change this whole Zap. Because once you set up those placeholders properly, they're just going to update. Okay, so your role is, boom, qualify real estate buyer and seller leads. And then, you can do this for the qualifying questions. I'll just show you how to do one. But basically, you can say, boom, qualifying question 1. So now it just pulled that data. So if your client, is like, man, I want to change this question, or it depends how you want to design it, then all they got to do is you just say, hey, this is how you change it. Make sure you follow this format. It's got to have a question mark, one sentence, don't add multiple. And then now all the questions are here. I can say, when are you looking to buy or sell, right? Boom. And then you send another test and that would update it. So you would just decide up front, but this is kind of the basis of how to do this, okay? So once you have this set up, right, and configured, basically you'll have your prompt, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this one that I've already got here and just leave it as is, because I don't want to edit these entire things here. But basically we just need to update the main ones. So we're just going to say GPT. So this is how it knows what the last message it sent. And then all these other things are pretty much hard coded. Okay. And then we're just going to make sure that this is here, date since last message received, and then boom. Okay, so everything is now adjusted to fit this particular prompt. Okay, so where you're going to basically, do the work is, you can go here to this template here, and I actually even gave you in this document a prompt that you can actually use to just change this entire prompt right here with a specific one for your niche. So you can basically say, can you fill in this prompt with a random woman or man AI persona for and then you would type in real estate business or solar business that needs to qualify, if it was solar, qualify homeowners to see if they're a fit for solar, right? And then use these custom fields to insert into the prompt, right? And then name of AI assistant, so you could just, name it Emily, and then company name, you can just name it the company name right there. And then ChatGPT will actually produce an entire prompt for you. So let me see if I can do that for you. So if we take this base prompt here and we go like this, we can come here to GPT-4, and I can basically say right here, so I can say, can you fill this prompt? Can you fill in this prompt with a random woman AI for and then let's just do solar business that needs to qualify homeowners for solar. Use these custom fields. So name of AI assistant. So we can just call this one Emily for this example, and then let's just call this Power Solar, and then keep the same base prompt. And then all you got to do is paste this entire prompt I've given you here. Boom, boom. And then we're just going to paste it inside of here. Boom. And then boom. So now it's going to basically change that whole prompt, fill it in with a solar business, and it's going to leave all the stuff you're going to need to map either way, the way that they need to map them. But look, boom, Emily from Power Solar would re-engage. You are Emily, an assistant. Your role is to help homeowners. Boom, there's the qualifying questions. And like I said, you can either hard code those and write them the way you want them, or you can have your user decide. It's up to you. I'd recommend starting just having one, 4 really good questions or 3, and just leave them. But I want to show you how to do this. So boom, just like that. If we copy this, just like that, I just created this template right there. And then all you got to do is do the response and, this other one field, right? Since you're hard coding the name and stuff. So boom, date since last message received. And boom, we can now publish this. And now I'll test this and show you how this thing actually works. So if we go back to our system, I'm going to just copy this, this phone number here, delete this contact so everything starts from fresh. And then I'm just going to call this solar lead test. Boom, save. So just like that, this, this lead is now saved. And then I'm going to delete this conversation at least, just so you can actually see kind of if you were starting from fresh. You don't have to delete it. Like the lead obviously most likely won't delete their conversation with you, but this is just so you can kind of see it demoed out. So let me make sure we got everything here. Emily from Power Solar, and boom, everything should be good. So now let's start this thing up. So we're going to go to solar lead test, or let's just call this person John Smith, homeowner. That way it's, can kind of work a little bit better. So now that everything is set up, we're just going to click on add, start bot, and click on add. And this is now, I should have changed that first message, but are you still interested in a coupon? So whatever, I would have changed that back here. So let me go here to, I'm going to say, hi, it's been a while since we spoke. Are you still considering going solar? Boom. So now that message is what will update. So let me just do this one more time. I'm doing it, trying to keep it entertaining and also obviously doing it accurately, but sometimes I'm kind of going a little bit out of order here. Why is that happening? Okay, so what I'm going to do is just take that same number and just pretend this is a John homeowner solar. John homeowner. So we're just going to paste this information now. And then we're going to click on add, start bot, boom. And now it's going to say, hey, it's been a while since we spoke. Are you still interested in solar? Boom, okay? And then now this lead is going to say, actually, yes. Boom. And then just to show you that this thing works, make sure everything's, hooked up how I showed. And within a few seconds, this thing should respond. And, it's Emily. And there you go. Boom. That's great to hear, John. I'm here to help you through the process. To start, can you please let me know if your roof gets a good amount of sunlight? And then I can say, who is this? And it's going to say, I'm Emily from Power Solar. And the more you customize the prompt and you decide whether you want to do that with either a custom value or just hard code it in, the more you can make this specific to your business. But that's really how you do this. Apologies for any confusion. I'm Emily from Power Solar, assisting homeowners to understand if they qualify for a solar installation, right? Boom. And then I can dig even deeper and say, where are you from? And based on the prompt, right? The more you program the prompt to think about questions that people are going to ask, the better the prompt will become. And then, that's basically how this thing works, right? And you just have to test it and keep, refining it. And that's what I gave you as the prompt. I spent a lot of time doing. So if you just kind of tighten the questions and stuff, everything's going to be pretty solid. So let me see here. I don't know if it's sent. I don't know. That's on this end. That's not even the ChatGPT. Let's see if it's. See if I can. Oh, there we go. So I don't know what that was on GHL's end. Sometimes that stuff happens, but where are you from? And so it should respond, based on what that prompt is. It doesn't. Oh yeah, from California, graduated from Stanford. Boom. So that was what this thing generated. So I could say redo another one, and you can start to tweak the prompt to create its own variation even too, where it just like you give it the right fields you want, and then it always changes, the age or the state and the college, And boom, look at that. I'm based in California, working with Power Solar. If they qualify, let's move on to the next question. Are your electricity bills over $100 per month? So there it is. That is how you do it. And that is pretty much, I went through the side notes. Yeah, so we tested everything. So, okay. Yeah, so once you've tied this all together, right? Here's how to install it for a client sub account. So, now that we have this, let me start to close this stuff out. Now that we have all this just in one clean snapshot here, make sure it's in one clean sub account or snapshot. And then when a client signs up, you just duplicate that Zap. You paste the new webhook URL that the Zap generates into that client sub account and then into the custom values. You can skip the test in GHL and basically just link the client sub account to update the contact, and then name that sub account to make sure it's organized, and then just provide training. And then once you send that test through, make sure those fields are updated, then you basically can just add it to any sub account ever. And then if you already have like a sub account or something like that with a snapshot loaded and you want to upgrade your client, you just load I would just load this into its own separate snapshot, so you could just update it without having to interfere with the rest of your snapshot. So you just load it, you skip all the overriding, and you just, click done. So hopefully you enjoy. If you want to join our free community where there's a lot of people talking about high level and stuff like that, there is a link below. And if you want to snag this whole thing that I built and save the time, you can check out this little store on Gumroad, and basically I give you everything that we just built together in snapshot form. So you don't have to worry about basically everything I just showed you. So you get the entire workflow that I just showed you, the Zap template. I actually give you a buyer-seller ChatGPT prompt and a traditional seller GPT prompt, and then the templated GPT prompt that we went over, and this entire document as well. And yeah, step-by-step instructions, which is this. So I always like to show people, hey, this is how you do it, because you can do it without me. If you want to go and do it, go for it. That way there's no excuse to not be able to do it. But if you would rather just literally get this thing and then it's there, you can, all you have to do is basically insert your prompt. At that point, you don't have to, I showed you literally everything, right? So all you have to do is just change the prompt and, link it up to your specific sub account. that you want it to be in, and it's basically, you know, yours to keep. So yeah, that'll be linked below. This is a free group, anyone can join, and then this you can snag if you want to snag it and not reinvent the wheel. And I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next video. Peace.